Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's remake got revealed this week, finally, after it being the worst kept secret in gaming history, and by all accounts, it looks pretty phenomenal. But I think deeper than its reveal kind of shows a point that Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft's design philosophy is fundamentally flawed. Now, Black Flag, when it was first released, was a phenomenal game. It might not have been my favorite in the series, but it was to many people, though I will never forgive those boring-ass first-person unskippable sections and some of the outdated combat design. But its ship combat, the whole pirate aesthetic, really led it to huge success critically and commercially, and fundamentally, it was a brilliant game. So it's no surprise that they finally decided to go back and revisit it and remake it with a fresh coat of paint. Of course, we've seen with overhauled combat and overhauled visuals, of course, with Ubisoft's new phenomenal looking Anvil engine. But the real problem lies within the fact that remaking a game which by today's standards is somewhat of a classic is kind of the nail in the coffin and the death sentence for Ubisoft's philosophy towards Assassin's Creed over the last 5 years. You know, ever since AC Origins, going through Odyssey and Valhalla, and then of course Assassin's Creed Shadows as well, Ubisoft have really pushed a sort of RPG number crunch style customizable experience for the player, filled with content, almost too much so. I think that was a big critique for those games, was there was just too much going on, too much to do, too many collectibles, too much going on, compared to the stripped back and streamlined experiences of games like Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. And going back to Assassin's Creed 4, because they need a hit, they need a commercial success to bring back the success of Ubisoft, kind of points to the fact that they maybe have finally realized that this philosophy they've been leading with, especially with Assassin's Creed Shadows, just doesn't work anymore. And it's not like that was a bad game by most accounts either, but it wasn't a great one and nothing compared to the games of old. So it's quite telling that their decision to go back to this remake is clearly motivated by money and success, because Ubisoft, as I say, surely need it, considering the amount of financial troubles they've been in recently. And to be honest with you, that speaks for the gaming industry as a whole too. You know, ever since the sort of post-COVID era, we've seen games and studios shut down on a whim. You know, you're only as good and as successful as your last project. That's all it can take for a studio to collapse and go under. Ubisoft have a little bit more leeway than most, but they've had a lot of misses in recent years. So it clearly seems to me and to many other people that Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced is the title, is clearly an attempt to steer the ship, no pun intended, back on the right course. I mean, the easy part of it is that the bones for an already phenomenal game are there. I have so many fond memories with Black Flag just as an experience in my teenage years. And as I said, it might not have been my favorite Assassin's Creed game compared to some of the Ezio ones, and actually 3 as well, but some of my core memories, particularly of course with the pirate side of things, were so incredible. I mean, thinking of boarding a ship and flying or sort of swinging off that top rope and dramatically landing with an aerial assassination on 2 unsuspecting pirates or shipsmen, whatever you want to call them, and taking on board countless enemies, taking control of the ship and plundering it for all of its worth. I mean, thinking about that now, even just in the back of my head, is kind of bringing on a smile and some fond memories. And I'm sure that's something you can relate to too. So it's not really a surprise that Ubisoft decided to remake a game like this. But on a wider, more, I guess, philosophical scale, I think the decision to make this remake and the inevitable success, in my opinion, that it will bring kind of puts us further towards, when you're looking at the gaming industry as a whole, a path towards even more obsession with remasters and remakes, because the reality is, in today's age, it is the easy route to go down for both consumers and developers. You know, fundamentally, we don't like change, or more so, I think we are just scared of it. You know, we're scared of innovation. We're scared to try something new or create something new sometimes, because it is difficult. It's not the easy path, and it is the road less traveled by. The simple thing to do is sit within your sort of confines of your box, of what you're familiar with, what you're comfortable with, and experience it over and over again. If we're talking within the context of a player, you know, this is why remakes and remasters are so successful, because they play on the idea of nostalgia, what you enjoyed when you were younger, and a format that is safe, that you've experienced before, that you like and you enjoy, and you have done for decades. You know, compare that to the risk of making a new IP, building something new, compared to something like Concord or High Guard in its probably most recent example of a game which tried something new, tried to innovate and failed dramatically. It's because players are scared, and the commitment to try something new is a difficult thing to get around. The only way you can see success in that regard is to create something that is truly exceptional across its marketing and actually the game itself. Something like Baldur's Gate 3, of course, comes to mind. So I think there is a sort of wider conversation around the negatives of the remake of Black Flag, because as much as I think it looks phenomenal, and I'll put the visuals on screen here, and I'm sure you might say the same, as I said, the Anvil engine makes this game look beautiful. Combat deservedly needs overhaul, and the ship combat, if we're being honest, is pretty fucking timeless, so I've got no qualms there. But when you're looking at it on a wider scale, it perhaps does point to something a little bit more problematic, you know? And that's not to say I won't be seated. I mean, this might be the first Ubisoft game I buy quite eagerly in a long time, and I guess that speaks volumes to my philosophy towards games as well, just as much as yours and many other people, because as I said, we like our comforts. We like the old Assassin's Creed games because they were fun back then, and to be honest with you, they still are now as well. But I would love to know your thoughts, feelings about Black Flag's remake, or resynced as it's called. What do you think it's going to be? How well do you think it's going to do, both critically and commercially? Will you be playing it when it inevitably drops? And I'll see you very, very soon. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and have a good one.